What happened at your work which caused multiple people to all quit at once? The boss went off on a tirade on me for something that wasn't my fault and I got him to scream. People like you are expendable pieces in this company and I can replace you tomorrow if I wanted to. 80% of the engineers quit the next day. Simply didn't show up. Including me. From what I know, the entire project folded because my now ex-boss couldn't find people to replace us because no one wanted to do the kind of work he was looking for at the salary he was paying. We stopped providing free coffee, and we're so cheap that we sold our coffee maker. This was in Seattle, so a couple of people bought their own coffee makers to put in their cubes. That tripped the breaker several times, so it was very disruptive since our computers would shut down. Management then said no coffee allowed in the office at all. We lost 4 very good engineers. They decided after 6 years it was time to do a drug test. Even lost the CEO in that great idea. To shop owner, who lived in another state, hired some a-hole to come revamp the shop. I had been managing for 3 years at this point and he just expected me to teach him how to do my job so he could replace me. That guy had no clue how to run a shop. Plus the owner had been embezzling money for her coke habit and had blamed the longest standing artist at the shop for lost revenue. Accused him of stealing. I did the books. No one was stealing. She was nuts. Anyway, all the artists and I mutinied and left at the same time. Ducked them over good. With that idiot at the helm, the shop didn't last a year after we all left. They laid off half the company with no warning. This included a gentleman who was less than a year from retirement and had been there for 35 plus years. The company was shocked when half the remaining people abandoned ship shortly thereafter. We just had a company-wide, except the directors of course, pay cut of 20%, and a 4-day work week instead of 5. Everyone including myself are currently looking for work, and they will lose their workforce so quickly. Company changed from 5-8 hour shifts to a 12-hour shift rotation. Edit. Most of the people that quit were the ones that were on straight day shift and didn't want to or couldn't work night shifts. I worked at a factory after they changed from a 8-hour rotation to a 12-hour rotation. For most people, the extra time off in the schedule was better than working fewer hours at a time. For some, though, their jobs went from 9-5, Monday through Friday, to the 12-hour rotation that included nights. They all quit. Cancelled all raises and bonuses for everyone except the CEO, his wife, financial and HR, and his son. Utterly useless it. In a year where we have record profits and brought in almost double the clients on top of announcing they aren't looking to hire more people when we were already overwhelmed. Good part about it was when the majority of us quit, they lost almost every single client shortly afterwards to their competitors and the company is now defunct. Promised a bonus at the end of the year. Told everyone they will not be giving out bonuses due to the low company performance. Company had a successful year. Boss was in the middle of building a multi-million-dollar home. Brother-in-law manager just bought a nice home that year. I quit on the spot. Many others quit soon after. Word slipped out that the whole accounting department was being replaced, so they all resigned all at once. My mom's company did that. Decided to outsource all the accounting staff. Then was surprised that all the accountants quit, even the ones they wanted to keep on to help transition the books. She was one of the ones they asked to stay, and she refused. LOL. I had worked at a grocery store for about 3 years before moving from courtesy clerk. Basically bagger plus custodian. To help a clerk. Stocker. The grocery department wanted to save costs on personnel, but couldn't fire anyone or lay anyone off due to the union. So they started cutting back hours and literally told us, when someone quits, everyone else will get more hours. We were supposed to be 40-hour employees and they had us at 32 hours. 2 people quit and we were down to 24 hours. A third person quit, down to 16 hours. I don't know what their plan was, but they didn't give us more hours as people left. Oh frickin' boy. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a few years as a line cook. 2 different stores, Same ducking pay. It was the type of work where you ask for a raise and they scoff and say, yeah, me too. Anyways, I had been pretty dead set on quitting sooner or later. Our kitchen was very small. Most people ended up closing 4-5 days a week with doubles on the weekends, while still attending school full-time as it was a college town. On Super Bowl ducking Sunday, a useless co-worker who ducked out in the bathroom most the shift finally stops showing, and in response the managerial staff delegated closing to my pal J. Dude was a ducking delight to be around, hands down the best co-worker ever. Jay had told them that due to being a full-time student, he no longer wanted to be first and last out, 4 PM to 12 AM, 1 AM on the weekends. They basically told him to go duck himself, and that they don't have any more shifts for him. Immediately, me and one other cook walked to the office and quit on the spot. Buffalo Wild Wings lost 4 cooks on Super Bowl Sunday, leaving them with 7 full-time students on the schedule. It was a managerial show. When I was 16, I worked in the concession stand at a minor league baseball stadium. Minimum wage at the time was $5.15 an hour. This job paid $8, and it was always in the evenings, so it was perfect work for a high school student. The only bad thing was our management was terrible. The main manager would throw toddler tantrums about once a shift over stupid bullet, like not ordering enough of a specific beer. She did the ordering. Or running out of pre-cut lemons for tea. One night the stadium was running a promotion and it was incredibly busy. Easily 2-3x the normal volume of customers. We were all working our asses off handling multiple roles each with absolutely no downtime. Although we all cleaned as we worked, nobody had a chance to do thorough cleaning for the whole shift because of the never-ending horde of hungry baseball fans. The manager showed up 3-4 hours late per usual and throws the biggest ducking tantrum ever over the unswept floor. Finally, she announces, "Listen up you lazy ducks. Minimal work gets minimal pay. Everybody is being paid minimum wage tonight because you slobs won't clean up anything." Both of our bartenders and the barback quit on the spot, which caused a chain reaction. We all took off our aprons and hats to leave. She blocked the exit and was red in the face from screaming, so one of the cooks climbed out of one of the big serving windows where we served customers, so I did the same and most of the staff followed. Bear in mind that this all happened in front of like 200 plus customers. Of course, my final paycheck got lost, so I had to file a wage theft complaint with the Texas Workforce Commission. Many years ago in high school I worked at a movie theater. The place was pretty poorly run from the moment I started there. We never got paid on time and management was basically a bunch of lazy jackasses who sat in the office talking all day and never actually did any managing. It would have been hard for things to have gotten any worse, but after a couple of months they brought in new management who seemed to want to make it their personal mission to run the theater as poorly as possible. They first decided to implement a new policy requiring all projectionists to wear ties, despite the fact that projectionists are never seen by the public, not to mention that tiny little detail that the projectionists worked around giant, rapidly spinning objects that a tie could get caught in. Management refused to reconsider the policy and every single projectionist quit as a result. They then decided that the door people, of which I was one, who were always scheduled 7 days a week, would now only be scheduled on the weekends, and refused to reassign any of us to concessions on the weekdays so we wouldn't lose hours. As a result, almost every single door person quit, including me. After that they started imposing impossible cleanliness standards on concessions, things like requiring them to scrape popcorn kernels out of the cracks in the trim behind the popcorn machines. Concessions was there until 5 AM every night trying to meet their standards. Most of the concession people quit as a result. By my count the theater went from a staff of about 50 to a staff of about 12 in 3 weeks. I swung by about a month after I quit and found out that entire management staff had been fired and replaced yet again by an entirely new one. Ones who actually seemed to be running the theater properly. My best guess is that the previous management had been told to whip the theater into shape and they were idiots who had no idea how to effectively do that. That's all for today's video. Hope you guys liked it. If you liked the video, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, The best thing you can do is simply watch the videos, but if you really want to see the channel thrive, subscribe, like, comment, add to favorites, add to playlist, and share with friends. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Reddit and Insta. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you with tomorrow's upload.